Stacy Smith, CFO, joins me from Santa Clara, CA. Stacy, good to see you again. Did numbers surprise the market? What was the key takeaway there?
Well, I think it really shows the superior financial results that our business model can generate. And we benefited from a few things this quarter. We saw the PC market strengthening. We saw really good execution, particularly in the factory network. And I think it's also an indication of the strength of our product portfolio. That also helped us in this quarter.
Is it real demand that's driving this, Stacy? There's some concerns that are being voiced about inventory buildups, which don't translate into a real demand pull.
Well, what we saw was that actual sell-through during Q3 looked pretty good. China was strong. We saw the back-to-school season in the U.S. Also being healthy. And then we saw the worldwide supply chain putting in place the inventory to satisfy a seasonally up Q4. So kind of what you'd expect in the third quarter of any year.
How did you improve profitability margins when there are all these concerns that the netbook revolution is going to drive those down?
Well, let's take netbook to the side, and I'll answer that question directly in a second. But what we saw this quarter in terms of the gross margin, it was really an impact of the strengthening business and the execution in the company. We saw that the factories were being loaded. We saw our costs coming down. Those things really benefited us. Netbooks, we've said all along, the strategy with netbooks is to have the right cost structure so that we can take that product and use it to drive growth in these internet consumption devices in emerging markets as secondary PC devices, and I think that's really paying off for us.
Paul Otellini was saying a bit earlier that the industry, PC sales may actually grow this year. As we get the full numbers for 09 in several months out, that would kind of defy general expectations for the industry. Do you think we're on track for that, based on what you saw in Q3?
Yeah, what Paul said is that he's expecting some slight growth, 2009 versus 2008. That's how we see the market. I think one of the data points that you can look at that reinforces that is Q3 was an all-time record for us in terms of unit shipments. So I think that's a really powerful illustration of the unit strength that we're seeing out there right now.
Win 7, got to ask you about that, because that's really the buzz of town right now after the Vista flop. I actually got a beta version myself of 7. I'm just starting to learn it. It seems pretty good. It seems to boot up and shut down fairly quickly, and it seems fairly responsive. Are you net? Are you optimistic about Win 7 and the impact and the kind of catalyst this is going to be for the PC space?
Yeah, we're really excited about the combination of our new products that are coming out on 32 nanometer combined with Windows 7. The combination there is it could be a very powerful catalyst that's going to drive an enterprise refresh where they replace the PCs that sit in large companies. We're not seeing that in Q3. We're not forecasting it for Q4, but it's one of those things that I think could be a nice driver as we get into 2010.
The back to school was obviously, I mean, if you reported top and bottom that beat the street, obviously the back to school shopping momentum was actually positive. Do you read more positives into the state of the economy? There's a lot going on. There was a key vote in the Senate on health care. Do you think that what we saw during the back to school will translate into the holiday shopping season upcoming here in several weeks?
Well, what we're predicting for the PC market is a seasonally uptick. So, we are in a volatile economic environment. Economic indicators still continue to be relatively weak, but we did see nice sales out as a result of back to school. The industry is gearing up for a seasonal uptick in the fourth quarter, and that's consistent with our expectations as well.
Geographically, you were commenting a bit earlier about the positive trends you're seeing in the emerging markets in the Asia-Pac. You singled out China, obviously. Can you isolate the rest of Asia a little bit more, and specifically, how are we doing in this part of the world?
Well, on a sequential basis, we had very positive growth indications across Asia Pacific. Some of that is consumption. I'd say, China, India, you continue to see the consumption of PCs growing nicely, but also Asia Pacific tends to be where PCs are manufactured that then go out into the rest of the world. And so part of the uptick that they're seeing is manufacturing that's going to ultimately fulfill demand that's back in the U.S. or in Europe.